Hi, my name is Daniel Mora. I'm a senior product designer with the authentication and authorization group within the manage stage at GitLab, and I wanted to go over a project I'm working on regarding our permissions model. The issue linked is this one, connecting permissions to associated groupings. So this work is being done as an effort to consolidate our permissions table. As an example, you'll see here in documentation, our permissions look sort of like this. It just has a list of permissions and then which role has access to that permission. So what we have initially done in the RBAC design pod, my coworker Amelia actually had gone through the whole table and then categorized the permissions into these primary categories. So for example, namespace, repository, product management, et cetera, et cetera. And as I went through the prototype building process, I realized that there was a bit of an issue where you could disable a particular permission, but that did not reflect in the rest of the permissions. So as an example, view project code is one in particular where it's just one individual line item. One individual line item. However, if you were to disable this one permission, then functionally you would no longer have access to merge requests or anything else that touched project code. So these don't necessarily have a linking system. So what I've done is I've gone through and tried to recategorize some of the permissions to understand where the links actually exist. So I'll kind of walk through in this particular example, the namespace category. So the first one off the top is view namespace. And if I were to disable that permission, then I should not have access to any of these other permissions. So I went through and dropped those into a subsection of view namespace. As you'll notice, there's a number of items that have sub-items. So in this case, view insights. There's one that says view insight charts. So again, the idea is that if I were to disable this feature of viewing insights, I should actually disable this one as well as a unified permission. One of the things that I am also thinking about is why is there separation? So as an example, if I were able to view insights, I should by extension be able to view insight charts. So there's going to be some discussion around what should we do in this? Can we merge those? Can we remove these sort of individual permissions? Because they don't necessarily make sense as individual permissions if you're thinking about it more as a connected permission to this originating one. Another example here is the edit settings. So if I'm in a namespace and I go to the settings, if I disable the ability to edit settings, I should no longer be able to edit badges, SAML SSO, change visibility of the project or the group, or feature visibility, and all these other associated permissions. So that's the first attempt that I have in trying to categorize, in this particular example, namespace permissions. What I'm doing is, again, going through all of the topics above here as an example, and then recategorizing them. So in the next step here, we'll look at repository. And as I mentioned earlier, view project code is the primary permission. So again, if I were to disable this one, then everything underneath it should be prevented. And so this is sort of what I'm working on for repository. I have a number of questions that I'm addressing with some of the team members to try and understand the relationships on these. Do they make sense to stand as a sub-item, or should they be more an individual or higher level permission? So that's what's going on with the current RBAC work. And if you'd like to see more about it, you can actually, again, go to this issue and take a look and see if you want to add any feedback. Thanks.